Hello, Lynette here from Bell's Uniques in Australia, and I've had quite a few people ask me how I put my signatures into my journals. So I've got one here ready to go, and I thought I would attempt to do it on camera and try and show you what I do. So I sew my signatures into my material first, and I've got this is a dragon journal here I've put together with my signatures. They're not all quite glued properly yet, and I don't have any of the ephemera or anything in there yet, but the base of the journal is there. I've got, quite a bit to put in still. So I make sure that I have a centimetre between each signature, because I figure that the person that's going to get my journals generally use them, and they want to, like, I'll have it filled with a fair bit of ephemera anyway, but then they're going to want to start filling it themselves with plenty of stuff as well. So I like to give it that room to move. That's just me personally. A lot of people don't do that. And I also give it a bit more room on the side, either side, so that there is that room for growth, thinking that, they might purchase one of my expensive journals and it's going to be a one purchase for a long time, and they're going to be using it for years. So I have 3 signatures in here, and what I do, I think it was Nick the Booksmith that I learned this from a long time ago, and she would put her piece of material down, which is what's going to be shown on the inside. She'd get a piece of paper which I have just glued with Yoo-Hoo glue, just to fasten it there, and then I get my middle line and then a centimetre either side. So I have not measured the top holes or anything, because I always cover the center piece anyway, and I'm using this thick twine that has been waxed, so I cover it. It makes it strong, and it's going to stay there. So as I said, I don't bother to measure, but I do fold them so that when I sew it in, it's all bulldogged together. I clip it all together so that it doesn't move, it doesn't go anywhere, and then I glue it in. So I've got my cover here, and isn't he absolutely gorgeous? And I've got my ring, which I hang my tassel from, and I want to cover that. So I'm in a bit of a mess because I'm moving. I'm following my husband to the Northern Territory soon, on Monday. So right, I get my piece of paper here, and it's black, just so that, if it happens to be seen at all, it's not going to be an issue. And I'm just going to put some glue down. Hopefully this is all in camera. And this is fabric glue, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm just going to place that down my spine. Yes, moving to the Northern Territory, my husband is doing rural nursing, so I'm packing up a few projects to take with me. And oh my goodness, it's a mission. You really don't know how much you use until you try and pack it up for a few projects, and think, but I need this and I need this, and it's been a little bit overwhelming, but I'm so excited to be going in, being there with him. So He's been away for nearly 4 weeks, I think it is. It will be 4 weeks by the time I see him. So it's for a year, which is pretty exciting. Okay, so I've got my piece that's covered there, and it's given that little bit more of a strength. I've already pre-cut 2 little pieces of lace, just seeing which way they go. That way. So I'm going to pop them down at the top, so you'll see just a little bit at the top. And I don't always do this, but it is nice to have a little bit of lace or something showing at the top and the bottom. So I'll just check that that's in the right spot. Just go down a little bit actually. And this one too at the bottom. So it's just that little bit of an extra that looks beautiful. Okay, so we've got that on. Now because I've got a bit of a curved spine, sometimes I will just glue the whole thing in like that, but this time I'm going to pop this little piece of thicker card. It's not thick, but reasonable. It's probably about 200 GSM on top of here. And then I'm going to glue on top of this. And it's more just down the sides for flexibility. And it's not, generally I would use a bit of black, but I just had this laying around from another project that I'd done, so the colour does not matter at all. And I'm just going to fold this in here. Get a really good crease in the fold. Same with this one. It's going to be opened and closed a lot. I get a bit nervous about doing tutorials because I still feel so inadequate in comparison to some incredible journalers you see out there. So I get quite nervous about it. And I know that I'm a messy artist. Okay, so that's good. That's in a nice spot. And it's got plenty of flexibility. And then we've got that blind spine in there. So the security comes in, probably got a bit much extra paper there which we could trim. Just take that off. Otherwise it might just be a bit bulky underneath later. Just check that we're definitely in camera. Okay, so I've got that's the front, and I'm making sure that I'm up the right way because I've done it before. Okay, so I've used my twine and I'm just going to sort of fasten this down a little bit just so it doesn't move too much when I'm gluing and become a nuisance. And as I said, I'm messy. I do everything with my fingers. Okay, that's nice and fastened. So from the front, it just, all you see is the beauty of it all. I'll probably put a little bit of glue on there later and on there as well. So this is Smeg from The Hobbit, which was a requested journal. It's just got my regular pages and Emma Parrish's pages in here at the moment, but I am going to be looking at making another one. She's inspired me to make another one with The Hobbit and even The Lord of the Rings, so that's a bit exciting. Let's pop a little bit of glue there. Okay, so we're going to put the glue down in the middle. And I use probably too much, but I like to be safe. Just rub that off my finger. So we're going to get it into the middle. I have to stand up. And I'm just lining it up roughly where I think it is roughly the middle. And then I'm going to bring this in, and then I'm just going to put my 2 fingers in the side here just to sort of fasten it, and then check that we're in the right spots. And that could probably go over just a little bit. Out there. Okay, so that is where it should be. So the center page, yep. So then I'm just going to go down the middle here and fasten that on nicely, making sure that it's a bit low, needs to come up a little bit because there's not as much space down here. So lucky I get a little bit of wriggle room with this fabric glue, not too much though. But if you have to, you can just pull it off and start again. So we need to go up just a little bit more. Yep. Okay. So before I really push it in, I'll just make sure that yes, we're in the right spot. And then we can fasten it down. I need to just pull this because it's puckered a bit. It's a bit of a mission. And my least favourite thing to do is to sew the signatures into the material. I usually procrastinate doing it because it is a bit of a job. But I love the blind spine. I love that you don't have to sew through your artwork. And because I'm messy and I'm not a good sewer, this works really well for me because you can't see my sins. Okay, so now that that's down there, I'm going to glue this on as well. Get goes to about there. So I put a bit more underneath where the paper is, and then if I spread it out over this part, it doesn't sort of gloop through the material the same. And just make sure that we've got no creases, which we do. So I'm just going to pull on it a little bit. And sometimes if you do get a crease that you just can't, you didn't realise and you can't get it out, you just put a little ribbon across it, which can be quite lovely. So that's not wanting to come out there. And it can be quite fiddly, and this is why I have not attempted to do this on camera before. But here we are. Okay, so I'm not happy with that. There's a bit of a wrinkle in there, so I'm going to pull it off and do it again, and maybe just a little bit at a time. That's better. Okay. And this is where you get that extra strength in it too, because it's sewn into your signature. Your signatures, sorry, are sewn into your material. I'm probably shaking the camera here, sorry. And then that's also glued onto your cover, so you've got all that extra strength. And there's still a little bit of a wrinkle there. So we might end up with a ribbon. Pull it down with this. Okay. So I've made extra dragon skin. I make a couple of extras because I make doors and a few other little things on the inside. And I make extra so that I can put some on the inside also of the cover. And quite often I'll make it a bit bigger, but this time I've just made it smaller. And I'm just going to glue that on. But I wanted to... What I generally do is just go down the edge, even though I usually cover it with a ribbon or something. I still like to just make sure that the edges have been, what am I doing to it? It's terrible how you just do things and you don't think about what you're doing. You just do it, and then I'm not quite sure what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on. And this is quite thick because of the eggshells, so I'm using plenty of glue. You don't need much if it's not a thick card, or if it's, you know, just something a little more simple. But this is quite thick, so that's about right. So I'm just going to go over that, and this does dry pretty fast, but it's good to make sure that you get it all down. So later on I will put a little ribbon across here, and I'll fix up that little piece that's just come off and embellish it just a little bit. So I'll actually be taking this journal up to Jabiru with me, which is just southeast of Darwin, to finish it off, because I don't have time before I fly out on Monday. Okay, so now we're going to do, how gorgeous is that? We're going to do this side. Just taking that glue off my finger. Sorry if this seems a bit boring, but I have had a few requests, so whoever really wants to watch it will watch it, I'm sure. And now I'm just going to pull this in. And that's where our wrinkles start. How gorgeous is this material? It's just perfect for dragon journals. Seems to be a little bit of a line in there. Okay, so finishing the gluing. Oops, I'll just pop some under there. So I'm just gently pulling on it so that it spreads out instead of wrinkling. I'll just tuck a little bit more glue in there because there's a bit of a bubble. I'm not going to push it down too hard yet because otherwise it'll seep through and you'll see it. Okay, so you can see that wrinkle. Oh, I don't know if you can on camera. See that wrinkle there? So I'm just going to pull that out with my bone. And then I can also add my little feature panel of my dragon skin. And then I'm in my journal, my signatures are all in, and then it's just time to embellish, to add all my pockets and all the ephemera ribbons and all the fun part. Get quite creative. This is quite a creative journal anyway, with all the textile type things, the different materials and ribbons that'll go with it, and all sorts of beautiful things to touch and see, and it's just a gorgeous journal. And I've noticed on YouTube and on quite a lot of the sites now that I follow, there's quite a lot of people trying them out after you know, I mean, I saw someone else doing it a long time ago on YouTube and then did my own thing, and I'm loving that people are all having a go at it since I've put mine up as well, my follow along on how to do it. Not that that lady had shown me how to do it, but she had told us on her YouTube how she did it with the eggshells and that. So that's what I ended up doing, and love it. And I love that people are loving them because they're quite magical. I think this particular journal is probably one of my favorites. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone with the cover, because she said she wanted it to be Smeg, so I needed to add more to his face, which was really cool and has got me inspired to do more of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings dragon covers. So yeah, that was really exciting, so thank you for this order. Okay, so now when I close that, I can still see a bit of a wrinkle there. All right, so there we go. We have 3 signatures stuck into this journal, and that is my process. So I'll probably trim that a little bit and then start adding my embellishments. So that's three signatures and my 2 panels all into this cover. So I hope that that's what you actually were asking for and has helped. I'm loving all the comments and the questions and people sending me some of the things that they've been doing themselves. I just really love it, and I'm just very grateful for the support and the encouragement and the beautiful things that people say. So thank you so much, and let me know if you liked this. Thanks again.